What's going on, everybody? We're going to have a quick recap of the trading day here, talk about some trades you could have taken, and go over how our trade plan played out on ES and NASDAQ futures. So starting off with ES, we had a trade plan of holding above 170. We were looking for 196 and 205. We just barely did not get that 205 target. We did get the 196 target. So that was more of a zone here, going from 196 up to that 205. And because we are in all-time highs, we have to use extension targets, whether that be tail extensions on the volume profile or Fibonacci extensions using the standard Fibonacci levels. Now, this was a Fibonacci extension. We did have a tail extension on the volume profile. That target was, I believe, 90. So that target did get hit as well. Looking at NASDAQ, we had our trade plan holding above 580. We were looking for 640 and 680. Damn near that 680 target was the top. It was actually 686 to be exact. It did top out at 694. So tail extension and the Fibonacci targets were taken out on NQ. Now, we did leave open a little bit of an afternoon break on both ES and NASDAQ that we will look to be repaired tomorrow. That goes back down to 85. So you have about a 5-point afternoon break that got left open. And then on NASDAQ, let's take a look here. Your morning level was 620. We closed at 653, so leaving open a little over 30 points on that afternoon break. You also left open some single prints on ES. Let me show that right here. So we left open some single prints going down to 171. I believe there were some on NASDAQ as well. Let's take a look at some trades you could have taken today. There was one really big trade that we talked about on the morning live stream, and I walked you guys through that trade damn near from start to finish. And the big trade was kind of a weird Bulldog pattern. Now, typically with a Bulldog pattern, we look for a bottom, it bounces off that bottom, and then it kind of fails downward, and then it puts in a double bottom. This one I wouldn't say exactly is a double bottom. It's kind of more of a sweep. So it's not a perfect Bulldog. And that would be the first half of the Bulldog. Then, after the double bottom, it pops up, and then it puts in a miniature bull flag, so like right here. So everything about this pattern was pretty much perfect, except for that low. That low was a little bit of a sweep instead of a double bottom. So what we looked for on this Bulldog was, if we look at this chart up here, this was the delta order flow, and we had a ton of bullish delta getting absorbed from 67 up to 70. And if we look at the 1 minute, that was right around here on those 1 minute highs. So when we kept topping out on those 1 minute highs, we wanted to kind of see, were we going to find buy pressure above that level? And if we did, how was the pullback going to be respected? So we did eventually break that level. It broke that level around 959, which is right around here. He started trading above the EMAs and above VWAP. And that's when we started talking about it on stream, about it being a potential Bulldog. For the Bulldog to play out, we need that double bottom and we need that miniature bull flag. So that pullback cannot be that deep. It can't retrace too far. If it does, then it's not a Bulldog, right? It just becomes kind of a rotation, becomes a chop. So this pullback right here, we needed it to hold where that absorption was. If it didn't, the final line of support was VWAP, and it damn near held VWAP to the exact tick, right there at 66.50. So once you started to bottom after hitting VWAP right here, that's when that trade is being established. So the two optimal entry points for a Bulldog trade is that pullback of that bull flag. You trade it the same way you would trade a bull flag. That's the pullback entry. If you're more of a breakout trader, you can trade the break of that prior high. So when it started to break right here. Both of those entries are pretty good. And then from that point on, you're just really watching the nodes, keeping an eye on the EMAs, and seeing if anything is threatening your position on the way up. And during the live stream, I talked about how this was looking really good until about 10:30, 10:32 to be exact. When this top doji came in, we talked about how that was not a very good candle for the buyers. It didn't really kill the trade, but it wasn't a great candle to see, especially after these two impulse candles on the buy side. So once you put in that top doji there, you were looking for a potential pullback. And not only that, that's where those single prints were. So there were single prints going down to 70, which was way back here. So we had a reason to go back down. So once again, that didn't really kill your trade, but it wasn't exactly what you wanted to see. There was a lot of sell pressure coming in. And on that pullback, you started to pressure the ADMA, so the aggressive trails would have gotten taken out. And then you started testing the 24 EMA, which is where the passive trails would be. Now, yes, you did break the 24 EMA by like 1 point, but that really shouldn't have taken you out of the trade because not even like a single candle was trading fully below that 24. So after that, after you started bouncing off that 24, you kind of went back into that vertical distribution. And then around 11:27, around this candle right here, that's when that trade kind of died. Because at that point, you're putting in a bear div on momentum, which I can pull up here. It started putting in a bear div on momentum. Let me grab that on the 1 minute. It was around right here. So you put in a higher high on price, but a lower high on momentum. And you also had a lower high on delta. So you had a bearish divergence on delta and momentum simultaneously, which kind of was indicating weakness. Okay. And then all of your trails started to get taken out. The OTS trail got taken out, the ADMA, the 24 EMA, 5-minute lows, everything but the 30-minute lows basically was being taken out. And you actually did take out the 30-minute low as well. It did end up recovering. So if you were still in that buy from way back here at the Bulldog, the optimal buy was around 68 or the breakout buy around 72. The final exit would have been around, let's say 80 to 82. So very good buy. And then there was actually another buy trade that happened. You had a beautiful bounce off VWAP, damn near to the tick on NASDAQ. You kind of front ran it on ES. But what I talked about on the morning stream, take a look at this. We had one of our Momo combos. So the OTS gave you a blue pivot, a bottoming pivot, and it gave you a bottom warning on the momentum. That's what we call a Momo combo. And that's typically a very good buy. So you had the support of VWAP, you had the support of the OTS pivot, and the support of the Momo momentum bottom. Okay. So very good buy point there. And then back into a vertical distribution until about, I would say around 2:30. Just kind of chopping higher, protecting the 30-minute lows, slowly pushing your nodes up. You had a node basically every 5 points. Node at 80, node at 85, node at 90, node at 95. And you were just continuing to build your nodes up pretty much the entire day. Until about 2:30, then the pullback started getting a little strong. And then once again, you tried to break that 30-minute low. And that was around 2:30. So let me pull that up over here. But then, once again, the 30-minute lows were being protected. We were seeing those 30-minute lows get protected, the entire day. And you really need to get used to this pattern because this is a pattern that is extremely common when you are trading into all-time highs. You have these vertical distributions where, yes, you are trending up, but that doesn't mean that you are safe to be a breakout buyer. You actually, most of the time, want to be a pullback buyer, a responsive buyer, not trading the breakouts. And then on the pullbacks, when you get close to those 30-minute lows, they are protected. Okay. So your higher time frame trend is extremely stable, even though you're getting pretty sloppy and pretty choppy on the lower time frames. We did not have a single 30-minute low that was taken out that stayed broken the entire day. Every single one that got taken out turned into a sweep. And we're seeing this pattern pretty much the entire week. If I go back to TradingView here, we saw the same pattern yesterday, but on the sell side, the 30-minute highs were being protected the entire day until about 2 to 2:30. And then on Tuesday, same thing, 30-minute lows being protected damn near the entire day. Not so much on Monday because Monday was very news related, but funny enough, it was happening. It just switched. So the highs were being protected, and then you had that big headline come out, kind of the peace talks, and then the lows were being protected pretty much the rest of the day. So keep an eye on these 30-minute trends. They are being heavily respected the last few trading days. These trends are extremely stable on the higher time frames. Okay. So realistically, that was it for today. There was only a couple of great trades. Everything else was just following the trend, following the nodes as they went higher, following the 30-minute lows as they were protected. And that is pretty much it. If you guys enjoyed this recap, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. And for the giveaway, let me know what you guys were trading today. Let me know what pattern you were trading on ES and NASDAQ. Put in the comments below the time the pattern happened. Use New York time because that's the time zone I'm in. And let me know what pattern it was. I want to take a look at some patterns that you guys are trading. And I'll get you guys added to the giveaway that we're going to be doing next week. But all right, guys, that's it. Hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.